Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So I did record the actual summary last night, and I actually sent off return. Well, I thought I sent off return to Dadman. Turns out I actually sent this save, the unfinished save. It was late when I finished it, and you know when you like wake up sometimes, you're thinking, what the hell was I actually thinking? Like, what the hell was I actually thinking? But here we are. I decided to actually re-record the actual summary just so it makes more sense. I was very tired last night. It didn't sound great. So here we are. I also did look into something and I did decide that, yes, that would have been a mistake. What we're going to do over here then in Sumatran, I'm going to go through things pretty quickly so we can actually get a good idea of what's going on. Keep it pretty brief for people. What I decided to do is I was considering actually moving additional forces in over here, but the issue is there's very little supply. And I don't like how we're just down the road from it down. He could move those troops. There's probably not many troops around here, but he probably does have enough AV to kick us out from here if he so wishes to do so. Especially as we have no supply. It is ×2 terrain, which is good. So what I'm going to consider doing then is, for the time being, at least that is I'm going to have the L3Y2s transport the Yokosuka 3rd SLF. They're going to be landing over here at Sibarat, however that would be pronounced. Oh, bear in mind, as with these changes have actually been changed, I have sent the turn off. This is just beforehand. This is like last night when I clicked 20% thinking, oh yeah, that's rest, and actually it was training, but I was just so bloody blind. So we're doing that. I'm also going to have forces land over here at Sinabang, from Sinabang, from the Yokosuka 3rd. So I'm going to be securing these two islands over here, which is going to be good. Now, there's no airfields, but the thing is, I could potentially fly forces down here to maybe build up an airfield if we'd so feel the need, but it's not going to happen. But what I wanted to do here then is actually take two ports over here. They're very likely to have nothing in them, but it gives us a potential position for the MKB to potentially take refuge, which I'm interested in. And what I've decided to do here with the MKB is I'm going to have them move a little bit closer to the actual mainland here. The reason being, I want to try and avoid the submarine over here by going in a direction potentially well, he's going to probably try and get some submarine strikes here. The problem is, I want to avoid the submarines because those are the real problems. They could definitely put another fish into Hosho, which is a problem. So what I want to do here then is at least have a position where I could potentially head into port. We're not too far out from Benkolin, however you pronounce it. So we'll have this Hex tomorrow, we'll have Lahat tomorrow, which means it's 2 days out from Lahat, another 2 days here. So we're looking at, well, it's going to take us 2 days to go from here to here, another 2 days to go. So in 4 days we'll be at Benkolin. Over here these guys are marching as well. 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, so they'll be there in about 8 days. Yeah. 1 second, 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah. So that'll take them 8 days to arrive. But that means that we'll have another unit 2 days after we arrive over here. Which means that, when we do launch the attack, I could potentially wait for the second unit to arrive, or we could launch an attack and then allow the second unit to arrive to actually give us the actual oomph to finally probably take it. So that's something to consider. And what I've gone ahead and done as well is I've moved KI-43s over here. These guys are going to be running cap over this haven. What we need to do is we're going to shut down, we need to take Singapore. Singapore has to come first. We need to take Singapore. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put full effort into Batavia. Very much looking forward to shutting down Batavia's airfields. But we need to shut down all the airfields in Java, essentially. All the main ones. Try and shut down his air power. What we're going to do then is, I think... I mean, this is a possibility. We could move enough supply here to actually build barges to cross over here to Menek, but I don't think that's going to be required. We could potentially go for an amphibious landing over here at Menek, actually to secure this and actually have full access and full control over these hexes over here. There could very well be mines over here at Menek, and I would be surprised if there were not mines. That's something we have to take into consideration. But yes, I moved the Oscars there. We still have Oscars over here. And what about some of the other Oscars? There's Oscars here. I can't recall if I moved them out. I think I might move them out over here, but I can't recall what I did with those guys, actually. So no mind on that one. And what I decided to do is I'm going to take the actual Sallies. So the Sallies over here in Sumatra and the Sallies over here in Malaya are going to be hitting Singapore's airfield. The KI-48s are going to be hitting the actual ground troops. I'm going to have the Sallies coming at 17,000 feet. The Lilies are going to come in at 18,000 feet. The reason being I want to try and differentiate them. I want to try and like split those attacks up. So I want the airfield attack to go in as one wave, the ground attack to go in as another wave. Just make things a little bit easier ideally. I decided that we're going to wait over here one more day at Singapore. The reason being that we'll actually have a full day's benefit of the headquarters being in position now, which is good news. It also gives us that time to make use of the support here, and also to burn off some of this fatigue and get that disruption down there. I mean, this is it. It's a problematic situation, because I was hoping that we would have had Singapore by now. But if we have it on the 6th, well, no, it'd be the 7th of January when the attack does go ahead, then okay, c'est la vie, it's got to be that. We'll make sure that we take it properly, really. We do have more air support. I mean, we probably could have had Singapore by now, but this is it. It's lessons learned. It's definitely lessons learned. And I'm looking forward to putting all the experience into practice in future games, really. But this is it. We've learned enough lessons from this campaign so far, so if we ever did a future one, we'd be able to do similar things, but we'd do them more efficiently, we'd be more brutal in our actions, and we'd be more effective. We'd move faster. And that's the important thing to bear in mind. And so yes, we're going to be bombing the airfield, we're going to be bombing the ground troops as well. Then what I'll do is the turn after is I will go full effort on bombing the ground forces over here at Singapore, and trying to cause as much disruption, and any casualties would be nice, but as much disruption as possible, really. Any fatigue, but disruption obviously would be a good one, just to try and help our ground forces when they do attack. And this is it, we're at 847 AV now. I mean, when we do have another day's rest, we might increase that a little bit more. This is it. It's just giving these guys that time to burn off this fatigue and just to recover, really. I mean, this is it. The 4th Division does have another 40-odd AV that can join back up there later on. It might have actually been worthwhile to have them head over here to Singapore. Probably might have fallen a little bit sooner with a little bit additional AV, but hey, it is what it is. I do have the Mixed Brigade on the way. They're not too far out. They will be at Johor Bahru tomorrow, which is good news. And then 2 days, they'll be at Singapore. So they will arrive at Singapore then. So they'll be at Johor Bahru tomorrow on the 6th. They'll arrive at Singapore on the 8th of January. So even if we fail to take Singapore on the 7th of January, when we do launch another attack, probably on the 8th or the 9th of January, we will actually have a Mixed Brigade there to help us as well. But I'm feeling confident. I mean, we have... I did actually... trade out one of the commanders. I think it's, yes, the commander of the 15th Corps here. Yeah, we traded the commanders out, so we do have a far better general over here. A far better commander in charge there. So it should help us. And we're also going to have much more air support, so that's going to be good. What we're going to be doing over here is I'm moving all the forces from Nardo. I'm moving the 9th Infantry Regiment from Kandarai. It's going to take it's going to take 2 trips to do that, moving it entirely. So what I'd like to do is move over 2/3 of Manado, have that then move from Manado to BLeAcHACiD, and then ultimately to Benjamin, so I could reform, or will reform the divisions over here in Java. What I'd like to do is be able to move the rest of the 9th Division this way, which I probably could. I do probably worry a little bit too much about this area, but I don't want to really give him the opportunity to make use of PTs, or to make use of bombers, but we'll see. I think he's starting to dip into his reserves of aircraft on Java, but we'll see. We do need far more intelligence over here. Oh, I did actually go ahead and buy out a reconnaissance squadron over here from China, so those are going to be very handy. I'll be able to split that group up and make great use of them. But this is it, we do need more reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is absolutely key. If we could actually see what was actually in all of these airfields over here, we'd actually have a really good idea and be able to really hit them as hard as we possibly could. And we are going to be waiting again here at Clark. Bombardment to go ahead, but we will be waiting on the artillery and the AT to arrive tomorrow, which will be good. I decided actually that I would have the tank regiment just hold off and wait over here at Lingayen for another day. Well, at least for another day. I do have the actual SLF over here. They're being loaded up on board the ships over here, which is quite handy. So they're being loaded up and moved down to Lingayen. But what I'll do then is I can have these forces continue to rest, because the tank regiment does have a decent amount of fatigue and disruption. So we're going to have those burnt off. But it also does mean that should he move his forces from Iba, and I think he has about 100 AV there at Iba, he can't just sweep us out of Lingayen, because obviously that would be a pretty catastrophic situation there. It's not as bad because there's not that much supply there, but it would be pretty nasty. Would not be something that we'd like to have happen. We do have some fortifications over here at Lingayen. I'm still building up those fortifications, which I think is worthwhile, so we'll probably have level 3 fortifications soon enough. It's a clear terrain hex, it's not exactly ideal, but at least it does help. It would definitely help. What I'm also doing is moving engineers from Bataan Island down here to Legazpi. Sorry, to Naga. So we can actually go ahead and base the Dieners over here, which would be nice. Also increases the amount of aviation that we do have here. And what we've gone ahead and done is we move the Sonoys and the Edas. They're not going to be in action this turn, they're going to be resting this turn. Well, they're trained technically this turn, but they will be then used against Bataan next turn. Sorry, against Clark next turn. What I'm going to do is, after Singapore's fall, is I probably will bring a squadron, potentially up to 3 squadrons of Ki-20, is it Ki-21? Yeah, the Ki-21 2A Sallies, probably back over here to Luzon. And then what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to attack at Clark, but then actually bomb the airfield of Clark and prevent it from rebuilding those fortifications. That's going to be an important factor there, really. So I might wait in Luzon until we actually have the bombers in place. I mean, this is it. We've got to do things properly. I think I was expecting a little bit too much over here in Luzon. We could kick him out, but I think it's a case of we're probably better off just doing it properly, really. So these divisions are large. They do have the power to do it, but they're not infinite. They will take losses, and this is it. We will have to recover these losses, which will mean that we have less assault value. We'd be able to do things just not as efficiently. It'd take longer to do everything, so we're going to avoid that. Try and really baby this army. Try and really look after them. And the thing is as well, they've still got a decent amount of fatigue. So if I can bring that fatigue down, I'm going to be really happy. But it allows our engineers to recover as well, which is useful. Because all these engineers are going to be great. All those IGA engineers are going to be handy. And the engineers themselves will be handy. So that's good. So yes, we're going ahead on this situation. Try to get things sorted, which is good news. And the invasion of Talokan will be going ahead. They're going to probably take 2 turns to actually arrive out there. These forces moving out there, yes. I'm moving support elements, so AKEs and other assets, from the Baldwar, from the Marianas Islands, like the AKEs and etc. I think what I might do is actually have, because I have 2 Lima-class AKEs moving towards Baldwar, I think what I'll do is probably have them and the BBs probably moved into the Java Sea. So I think what we'd probably want to do then is have them move into the Java Sea, and then I could use them to support operations against Java. I mean, this is it. In bases like... Well, I mean, this is a difficult one, really. But in a base like this, for example, where there's no actual facilities that are worthwhile, I could bombard there. But yeah, we'll see. There's not many places in Java where you can bombard without really damaging something you want to keep. So that's something to bear in mind. These zeros over in Palembang are going to be resting quite heavily. What I'm doing here then is the Tainan KUS is going to be running 30% cap over Palembang. They do have 21 fatigue, but they also do have a very large amount of reserve aircraft. They have more reserves than they really should do, in fact, due to them being split up. And I think the maximum amount of reserves a squadron can have is 4. But when you split that squadron up, each of those detachments can have 4 reserves, I believe, or potentially more. I think it's about 4. But when you combine them, they hold on to those reserves. So you can actually try and get a lot of reserves in there like that, which is a good thing to do. We do have the other squadron. They're completely stood down. And yes, I take the reserves from the other squadron, but when they're overstacked like that, they kind of get lost sometimes. That's something to watch out for. Otherwise, I would have put more of the reserves in here. But we should have some more zeros built to be able to replace them and get the numbers up there. But they're going to rest completely. They do have 31 fatigue, so we're going to get that fatigue down. Some damage on some of these airframes as well. So it gives us the time that we need to repair that. It gives the pilots that time they need to recover as well. I mean, there's a lot of really good pilots in here. You can see their experience has actually increased this turn alone, which is good news. So that's good. We're going to overwhelm Java with air power. Burma is really interesting, due to the fact that there's now 68 fighters over here, which is intriguing. I don't have information on Rangoon right now, which is not exactly great. So probably what I'll do is I'll buy out more reconnaissance squadrons from China in the near future, and that's going to be very handy. It gives us a lot of information there to work with, which is excellent. China's a bit of a slow going affair at the moment. But I am ordering a shock attack over here with the 3 divisions against this unit over here. And what I'll do then is actually make... I suppose I'll put the plan into effect. I want to take Chengchao and take Luoyang, and then at least once I have these cities over here, I can actually reorganize properly, and then we'll come up with like a coherent plan now. What I'm doing over here at Leh. Now, we did see that we were attacked by Woodways. We did see that there were previously A-24 Banshees, so what I'm doing here then is I've stopped them unloading. I'm going to get them the hell out of Dodge. The reason being that they'll be able to move 3 hexes, so 1, 2, 3. They'll be over here during the night, which is 6 hexes away, and then they'll move another 3, so then there'd be like 9, so they'd be around about there. What I'm doing is I'm not running the long-range cap from Leh. I'm going to be having them cap over at Leh just to, assuming that is actually going to be coming there. I do have the A6M20s running a small amount of long-range cap over the actual assets over here. I feel that if it's just the Winnoways, we should be able to get outside their range, and if it's A24 Banshees, then we should still probably be able to get outside their range, depending. It does depend, really, but it depends on what he's actually set them to do, really. But we'll see, If we get an opportunity to actually shoot down his bombers, that's always a good thing there, really. What I've decided to do with the Kiddipatai is I'm going to send it to this position over here from here. The reason being, it is about 23 hexes away from Port Moresby. It's 18 from Gazmata, it's 21 from Buna, 25 from Tedapple, 26 from Mandang, 24 from Manus, 21 from Luganville, 25 from here as well, and then 26, 27... It's in a position where it's pretty much outside most of the range that he could potentially have BB-wise. Obviously, if you had them over here, there's not much I can do about that. He could very well have them here at Gazmata. We'll have to obviously take all these bases here to prevent that. Every base, even potentially over here, he could do it. But every base, every dot base needs to be captured. Everything needs to be ours to prevent him from doing that. So yes, what I wanted to do then is be within range of Tulagi as well to do it. But I want to make sure that we're outside that discovery range, really. So that's a very important thing. Very, very important. And we do have our assets returning back to truck over here. The fighters, the A5M4s that were previously here are moving out. They're going to be moved back to Japan. The reason being, let's see, whereabouts are they? Yes, you can see that over here. They're going to be shifted back to Japan. The reason being, we're going to have them converted, we're going to have them enlarged, but we're going to have them converted eventually into zeros, at least one of them. The largest squadron, the Quad detachment, is actually going to be used pretty much just to train as many pilots as possible, really. The Karga and the flotilla over here is moving in towards Inuatok, so we'll do is rest our forces. We do have a little bit of detection over Wake Island this day. Not that much, but enough to sort of see that there's 2 units over here, which is around about the same numbers we saw before. There's apparently 3 ships over here. There's at least 2 DMSs, and we saw something that might have been a tank, it might have been an AK, which is really intriguing. I don't know why he would have a... I don't know. It's interesting. He might be pulling them out, or he might be just moving supply in. I'm not too sure. He's definitely up to something. He might be using this as a submarine base, to be honest. I would not be too surprised about that. So we're going to keep up the reconnaissance. We're going to just really get things working, get things sorted out. We'll obviously have a Kargi used over here at Inuatok as part of this operation. I'd like to have the Kiddipatai, the full Kiddipatai, potentially used to support the Wake operation, but we'll see about that. He's likely going to make an appearance with the carriers at some point soon. What we need to do is just try to reduce the amount of places where he can be nasty, really. And I forgot to move that submarine further out, in fact, but it should be moving out further anyhow. These guys have been going to be patrolling off the coast over here. As you can see, those patrol patterns have been worked out quite nicely. There we go. So yeah, things are going ahead. We're getting to a good point now. We've had some setbacks, but this is it. We're still carrying on. We're still moving out. Something I'm happy with and a little bit worried about is over here. I'm going to be using... So this wasn't set properly, but let's see. Or was it? Yes, it is. So what I'm going to be doing then is taking a Hayashio. I'm going to have her actually run a fast transport. She's going to be loading up supply. And she's going to be taking that supply... It's only 75 tons of capacity. But she's going to be taking that supply into Port Blair. So she can actually resupply Port Blair. It's not that long before we move to the Straits of Malacca. It's not that long until we really have full control of Malaya, full control of Borneo, full control of Sumatra, and then we'll have full control of Java. The interesting thing is once Singapore falls, that's when we really have to make some tough decisions. That's when we really have to figure out what our long-term plans are. I do lean towards attacking India and trying to secure India, so I feel that can be done, but we're going to have to see about that. Ultimately, whichever plan that we go for, we are going to have to be quite brutal on it. We're going to have to be very effective, and we're ultimately going to have to do it quickly. We have to have these things in place. We have to get them moving. We have to be prepared. And this is it. We're going to cover our ass. Dadman is a wily old bastard, and he knows that. He enjoys that. That is what he's good at, and this is the difficult part. We are the aggressor. He is the defender. He's going to use that against us. But yes, I'm happy that Lei at least does have a defense now, a true proper defense that I've sent to 1AV. What we're going to do then is over time, as we gain more information in the Rabaul area of the Solomon Sea, is we'll be able to use more aircraft to actually cover ourselves and then move upon Port Moresby. And that's the thing there. I mean, Paul Moresby is going to require bombardments, but we do have the ability to get AKEs down here, so we'll definitely do that. But there we go, so that's a pretty quick summary of what is going on here in the current turn. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. We do see some submarines actually pick up on some targets over here. We haven't seen any targets for a long while now, so maybe we do need to reorganize these patterns. Potentially we might just be missing them, or he might actually just not be sending anything at this moment in time, or potentially send it a completely different way. There's all sorts of variations there. But there we go. Thank you for watching there, ladies and gentlemen. I hope to see you again in the next turn. Tena Heiko Banzai. Thank you to all of my lovely, lovely patrons. Thank you to my viewers. Thank you to my subscribers. If you guys are new to the channel, please do go ahead and like the video. That's much appreciated. Subscribe if you're new, and comment down below with what you think should be done. Do you have any ideas? What would you like to see? And, I don't know, let me know which was your favorite Japanese battleship of the war. I'm going to say mine is a Yamato, so therefore you guys cannot use Yamato or Musashi. You've got to choose one of the other older battleships. That's the condition. Until next time, thank you and goodbye. Tena Heiko Banzai. Sayonara. And I shall see you next time. Goodbye for now. I've been me, you've been you. Goodbye.